Okay. Hang on just a moment. Let me see if I can make a small adjustment here. I don't know how well that's going to work. That did not help at all, really. Okay, then. Hello, Jack. How are you tonight? Can you hear me? All right. We has people, and you can hear me. Good. All right. So, like last time, I only have the one screen, so I can't have my recording stuff up and YouTube. So, I'm going to have to tab down while I do some recording, and I'll tab back up and check comments here periodically. Okay? Just a second. Say hello to my mascot. One of our local indigent left him behind a couple of days ago. So I now have him. No idea what to name him, but a Canada Goose just seemed like a perfect mascot for a Death Welder channel. All right. So without further ado, without any further gilding the lily, and with no more ado, first thing I need is I have a correction to make on chapter 1. So it's going to start in the middle of nowhere. Where the hell am I? Oh, Gregor! It's time to do the thing. Because we're singing in the rain. All right. So, chapter 1, the missing section. I'm still trying to figure out how the hell I missed it. Okay. Lads, as amusing as this all is, said Powell from around the corner, I reckon we should debrief, seeing as Mrs. Murphy has died by ninja and we are now without a librarian. There was respectful grumbling all round while Powell eyed the aftermath with a twinkle in his eye. As promised, there was no damage to the facilities. Well, one of the big brutes had put his foot through a wall in the scuffle, but that was an easy enough fix. He apologized and promised immediate repair, while Miss Murphy assured him that it was not a problem, and they could kidnap her any day. She smiled a wicked little smile that said, She smiled a wicked little smile as she said this, which, coming from an elderly woman, was always a bit disconcerting. They walked away after shots were given and bodies stretched to place muscles and bones in their correct location, and sufficient time had passed to... They walked away after shots were given and bodies stretched to place muscles and bones in their correct location, and sufficient time had passed to ensure a proper set of... They walked away after the shots were given and... Okay, I'm not ready yet. Hang on. They walked away after shots were given and bodies stretched to place muscles and bones in their correct location, and sufficient time had passed to ensure a proper set by the crew D. Adam had taken a particularly vicious pleasure in reseating Firth's shoulder, forcefully. Firth, in turn, complained loudly and good-naturedly. Man up, bro. I'm going to be pissing blood in an hour. Firth merely grinned and shrugged his shoulders and then winced. Totally worth it. Ow. Hey, also, said Baby. No, Baby? Who the fuck is Baby? Hey, also, said Baseball, I gotta ask, why the kilt? Hey, also, said Baseball, I gotta ask, why the kilt? Oh, that's easy. It was fun and gave our victim a little thrill. Why not? They all looked at each other. Powell worked his jaw and pretended not to hear. Bro, are you... Dude, she's what, 75? Did you grow true... God damn it. Bro, are you... Dude, she's what, 75? Did you go true Scotsman under there? Damn right I did. Us three big boys are God's gift to the ladies, man. Gotta show it off. He waggled his eyebrows at the raucous cheers of the older men. Then Murray sealed their fate. We should call you three the Footlongs. No! Adam's mortified reaction was loud and instant, thus ensuring the epithet. No! Adam's mortified reaction was loud and instant, thus ensuring the epithet's unavoidable and permanent assignment. Hell yeah, you should, Baseball could not help but enthuse. And Horace is our natural leader. Firth and Burgess high-fived and grinned the smuggest grins a man could possibly grin. Okay, Gregor, that was correction, I hope. Let me know if that sits right. Otherwise, I'm going to have to re-record that entire chapter because, well, I think that other things are just in the wrong place, and I have no idea how that chapter got so fucking bungled. So if that fixes it, it fixes it. If not, I'm going to have to do a complete re-record. All right. Hang on just a second. Jazzazemp. Jazzkazomp? Not sure how that would... Not sure how exactly that would be pronounced. Okay. Doing chapters 2 and 3 as one unit because chapter 2 is only 3 pages long and chapter 3 is 13 pages. So, yeah, we'll see. All right. Let us begin, shall we? Greetings and welcome. I'm glad to have you here. Before we begin, let me take a few moments to give the obligatory like this video, comment on this video, subscribe if you haven't already, and more importantly, share this video. Let's try and get this channel to 1,000 subscribers. Be sure to check out my Patreon channel. Consider becoming a subscriber and help keep Gregor energized with pizza and beer. Seriously, Gregor's half the magic here, so let's give him some love. Links are in the video description and in the page description on both YouTube and Rumble. And lastly, a quick shout out to my Tier 3 and 4 patrons. Russ of the Frozen North, Neo5AC, Nick, Zachary Langmead, Scared Wolf 1206, and Zachary Rainey. Thank you very much. And now, on with the story. Good Training, a story by user CTwelve. And oh, fuck me running. Unbucking believable. I completely forgot to hit start on the recorder. Meaning all of this shit's been for nothing. Ugh. I've got to go back and do all that shit again. Well, gentlemen. Now I've got to go back and reopen that one document that I just closed. If I can find it. Oh no. Where'd it go? Give me a moment, ladies and gentlemen. I thought I had recorded that correction to chapter 1, and Apparently, I had completely forgotten to actually hit start on the recorder, and then I closed out the document, and now I can't find it anymore. Where are the... Here we go. All right. Okay, let's try this shit again, shall we? This time without the oops. Oh, Gregor! Wakey! Yeah, we're doing this again. So, the correction, take 2. Fuck me. All right. Lads, as amusing as this all is, said Powell from around the corner, I reckon we should debrief, seeing as Mrs. Murphy has died by ninja and we're now without a librarian. There was a respectful grumbling all round while Powell eyed the aftermath with a twinkle in his eye. As promised, there was no damage to the facilities. Well, one of the big brutes has put his foot through the wall in the scuffle, but it was easy enough. God damn it. Well, one of the big brutes has put... Apparently, I can't talk today. Or read, for that matter. Well, one of the big brutes had put his foot through the wall in the scuffle, but that was an easy fix. He apologized and promised immediate repairs, while Mrs. Murphy assured him that it was not a problem, and they could kidnap her any day. She smiled a wicked little smile as she said this, which, coming from an elderly woman, was always a bit disconcerting. They walked away after shots were done and bodies stretched to place muscles and bones in their correct location, and sufficient time had passed to ensure a proper set by the crew D. Adam had taken a particularly vicious pleasure in reseating Firth's shoulder, forcefully. Firth in turn complained loudly and good-naturedly. Man up, bro. I'm gonna be pissing blood in an hour. Firth merely grinned and shrugged his shoulders and winced. Totally worth it. Ow. Hey, also, said Baseball, I gotta ask, why the kilt? Oh, that's easy. It was fun and it gave our victim a little thrill. Why not? They all looked at each other. Powell worked his jaw and pretended not to hear. Bro, are you... Dude, she's what, 75? Did you go true Scotsman under there? Damn right I did. Us 3 big boys are God's gift to the ladies, man. Gotta show it off. He waggled his eyebrows to the raucous jeers of the older man. He waggled his eyebrows to the raucous jeers of the other men. Then Murray sealed their fate. We should call you 3 the footlongs. No! Adam's mortified reaction was loud and instant, thus ensuring the epithet's unavoidable and permanent assignment. Hell yeah, we should. Baseball could not help but enthuse. And Horse is our natural leader. Firth and Burgess high-fived and grinned the smuggest grins a man could possibly grin. Oi. Okay, I actually got the audio that time, so let's put that away again and then go through the intro again. Can't believe I did that. Where was I? Oh, yes. Greetings, welcome. Yeah, that sounded horrible. Greetings and welcome. I'm glad to have you here. Before we begin, let me take a few minutes. Greetings and welcome. I'm glad to have you. Before we begin, let me take a few moments to give the obligatory like this video, comment on this video, subscribe if you haven't already, and more importantly, share this video. Let's try and get this channel to 1,000 subscribers. Be sure to check out my Patreon channel. Consider becoming a subscriber and help keep Gregor energized with pizza and beer. Seriously, Gregor's half the magic here, so let's give him some love. Links are in the video description and in the page description on both YouTube and Rumble. And lastly, a quick shout out to my Tier 3 and 4 patrons. Russ of the Frozen North, New5AC, Nick, Zachary Langmead, Scared Wolf 1206, and Zachary Rainey. Thank you very much. And now, on with the story. Good Training, a story by user CTwelve. That sounded horrible. Good Training, a story by user CTwelve, and set within the Jenkins verse. Chapters 2 and 3. Chapter 2, Strategies. Date point, 10 years, 8 months AV. HMS Sherman, Folkta, Cimbrian. Mission Planning Cell. Staff Sergeant Adam Adis. Staff Sergeant Adam Warhorse Adis. I think he makes the most sense, sir. He's the Gowan we know best, and he's already proven himself. Adam wasn't alone in his assessment, but it paid to remember the SOR operator's personal attachment and friendship with the Guri. Adam wasn't alone in his assessment. Fuck. From the top of that paragraph. I think he moiks. I think he makes the most sense, sir. He's the Gowan we know the best, and he's already proven himself. Adam wasn't alone in his assessment, but it paid to remember the SO operator's personal attachment and friendship with the Rigari. It was hard to think about him objectively. I don't disagree, but we should be clear about what we're hoping to achieve, lads. How does it benefit us to bring the Gowans in on this? Ack. What I'm forgetting. Give me just a moment. Voices. Another set of eyes into Sykes. They'd have a fuck. Give me a second. Let me work that one out. The way that's written doesn't sound like a Southern accent. It sounds Scottish. Another set of eyes in Tone Sykes. They'd have a perspective we ain't got. A round of nodding followed his. Complementary ability, now from Vandenberg. If Rigari is representative, and if the monks we've got living down the street are any example, they'd be pretty useful, I reckon. From Audis. And climbing and fighting too, with those wicked claws of theirs, they're clever with their hands, and they've got good vision and hearing. Oh, and a ridiculously good sense of smell. He described in vivid detail exactly how much he's... From the beginning of that paragraph. From Audis. From Audis. And climbing and fighting too. And with those wicked claws of theirs, they're clever with their hands, and they've got good vision and hearing. Oh, and a ridiculously good sense of smell. He described in vivid detail exactly how much we stank up the Caledonia. A round of chuckles followed by a pause. But seriously, I think they'd probably be very useful. He knows stuff, you know. Also, he did save our lives. I saw him fight that alpha hunter. He's got some game, and that counts for a lot. A fight that cost him his hand. And kept him alive long enough to make all the difference, maintained Adam. Even when he had no hope of rescue, he didn't need to resist. He could have just ended it, right? But he didn't. He didn't give up. Another round of head nodding. Plus, he's really light. He don't need much for food. He's surprisingly strong for his mass, and Earth gravity doesn't bother him too much. He's got protective fur, so he's going to be resistant to stuff. I mean, look how well he did on Earth. Barely even any problem with allergies. Hell, with a pellet. Hell, with a penicillin regimen and some training, I bet he'd be fine. That may be going a bit far, lad, but your point is taken. Regardless, this is something leadership wanted to do for political reasons anyways, but it is heartening to think there may be some actual benefits from this. Powell stood up, and with all the lads stood. Powell stood up, and all the lads stood and snapped to attention. Expect some assignments soon, but first, a quick administrative note. Staff Sergeant Aries, you'll be formally in charge of our physical training and nutrition program going forward. I don't think anyone here would dispute your expertise, as you've been effectively running the program for the last 2 years anyways. You'll be working closely with Technical Sergeant Kovac, since that overlaps a bit with suit biomechanics and, hell, everything else she's been up to these days. I'm sure you won't mind. There was the barest twinkle in his eye as he said this. Adam, for his part, blushed deep red. Impressive, given his nut-brown skin, but remained professional. I look forward to working with her, sir. Suppressed smirks all around the table. Try not to break us, lad. A round of good-natured groans and teasing followed, along with a happy grin from Adam. Do us proud. Yes, sir. You may as well get going on your first assignment then. You and Burgess will need to study Gowan physiology and biomechanics and see what we need to do to adapt our training. We need those lads strong as reasonable if they're going to keep up. Vandenberg, I leave the remaining assignments to you. Remain here. You and I must discuss that. Everyone else, dismissed. Date point, 10 years, 11 months AV. Chapter House of Clan Whitecrest, City of Weekhow, Planet Gao. Grandfather Hyaran of Clan Whitecrest. Grandfather Hyaran of Clan Whitecrest. Your proposal is interesting, to be sure. Grandfather Hyaran was, to be blunt, not a fan of Regari's proposal to send their finest operatives into the company of the human SOR. The SOR who had single-handedly saved the Dominion leadership from the Swarm of Swarms. The SOR whose fearsome abilities had already become legend amongst the Cubs and younger brothers. The SOR who so infuriatingly insisted on dealing through Regari and Regari only. While Hyaran held no personal animosity to Regari, he respected him and his abilities, in fact. Trouble seemed to follow him no matter what he did or where he went. A human, he suspected, might suffer a headache at this situation. Another human, he suspected, might suffer a headache at this situation. Another human turn of phrase sneaking its way into Gowan culture. It is not merely my proposal, Grandfather. Stainless makes several excellent points, not the least of which is the mutual benefits we would enjoy. We would learn human tactics and techniques, things we could imprint on our newest cubs undergoing the rites. The humans would in turn gain perspective they sorely lack, and both of us would learn much about serious potential threats, he shrugged. It's been made clear there would likely be some intelligence sharing as well. That alone makes it worth our time. Not every Gowan is as highly enamored of these humans as you, Regari. We would be risking much. All the males in the room perfectly understood the unspoken subtext, not least amongst the many things at risk would be reproductive future of the Whitecrest clan and their abilities. Mother Supreme Yolna was precariously positioned in her new office as she reconciled with the opposition mothers and sisters, and as a result, Clan Whitecrest lacked the influence it had once enjoyed. Her approval or disapproval could make or break many things in the sensitive intricacies of Gowan politics. We risk much no matter what we do, Grandfather. The humans are looking for partners they can trust. We, through luck and effort, are their first choice, and they are choosing to align our clan with our very finest military capability. That is a great honor all in itself. Should we so casually disregard that? The fathers present ducked their heads in agreement and almost imperceptibly. Ack. The fathers present ducked their heads in agreement almost imperceptibly. Grandfather noticed. Body language amongst the Gao was subtle compared to humans, but to anyone experienced in Gaoan politics, the father's general mood was easy to see. Grandfather Hiron noted the slight shifts in the room as the factions began aligning before he had even finished speaking. Regari, for his part, plainly radiated unease. Hardly surprising, for subtle interpersonal deception wasn't really his strong suit. Best to relieve him of his suffering. You do, of course, make an excellent point. Leave us, Regari, and take rest in the adjoining chambers while we debate. You have done great service to us. Do not forget that. Regari took his leave, clearly grateful not to be involved. And that was chapter 2. Who all we got here? Okay, good night, Freedom Fiend. Thanks for coming. Mind you, I probably already missed you, but... Are you still here, Jack? Right on. Oh, well. Thanks for coming. If you're not here when I tab back, have a good night. Okay. Chapter 3. Instinct. Date point, 11 years, 1 month AV. Mooney's Bar, Folktha, Cimbrian. Staff Sergeant Adam Warhorse Adis. Hang on a second. Righteous. I never did really establish a voice for him. Fuck. So Blazinski gets it in his head. What he really wants is a tattoo, a mustache on his dick, right? I mean, he was pretty fucking drunk, and it was like 3 a.m, and I was pretty fucking drunk too. So we're bouncing around Berlin looking for a tattoo parlor that's open. Don't even fucking ask me how I thought we'd find one. And sounds like a good night so far, but said he wanted to give 2 mustache rides at once. It wasn't clear who was more entertaining to watch. Righteous, spinning his tall tail, the expressions crossing horses' faces as he listened, or the men watching them both. It was the last free weekend before the new SOR inductees arrived, shortly before the Whitecrest brothers did as well. It would be an extremely busy year ahead, all things considered. So one last celebration was in order before the team grew for the first of many times. Bro, I mean, you talked him out of it, but Jesus, right on your dick? That, he shuddered at the thought. Could be worse, Firth said with a smile. We could We could do the fucking Sistine Chapel on yours. Adam raised an eyebrow and snorted in mock indignation. Bro, you're hardly one to talk. You just as big as me. I mean, he grinned suddenly. It always amazes me how the other two swing dick dudes on this team are the most obsessed. Don't drag me into this, Hoss, Don't drag me into this, Hoss, John chuckled into his beer. John? What was John? Baseball. Don't drag me into this, Hoss, John chuckled into his beer. Adam giggled in reply. Hey, you're the reason I got my call sign in the first place. What's the fucking deal, man? You're about the same as I am. Ha, chuckled John ruefully. Man, I'm a fucking pants monster, and I'm full of... Man, I'm a fucking pants monster, and I'm a full goddamn inch shorter, bro. Don't even pretend like I'm in the same league as you. Dude, Adam sighed ruefully. It isn't that big. Yeah, it is, Firth grinned a smug grin. You and I are the only real men on the team. Fucking man up to it, bro. His playful smirk was met with a quiet sort of annoyed humor from Murray and jeers and eye-rolling insults from everyone else. Any bigger and you and I would never get laid, man, but I'm also like damn near a foot taller than you. I don't parade around every morning poking everyone's eye out. That kind of dick on a short stack like you should be a licensed fucking weapon. Everyone at the table burst out laughing while Adam grumbled in faux indignation. Wait, hold up, drawled Sykes. How do you all know who is bigger? I ain't exactly seen an up-close comparison. Raised eyebrows around the table. Both the protectors shrugged in unison. We were bored one night and drunk. Oh, and Firth was kind of loopy because he was hiving his guts up all night and was probably low on blood sugar. Bad sushi, he frowned at the group. Bad sushi, he frowned a bit in the memory. The men chuckled into their beer, not overly surprised. Time served in a military, after all, was so full of indignities, both minor and extreme, that either one lost all sense of propriety with his battle buddies, or one could never cope with the stress. Okay, fine, so, Sykes couldn't hide his grin, making Adam gently squirm was practically... Okay, fine, so, Sykes couldn't hide his grin. Making Adam gently squirm was practically a team hobby. He sighed. Close enough between me and Firth it don't really matter, he said, and took another pull of his... He sighed. Close enough between me and Firth it don't really matter, he said, and took another pull of his beer. But if you gotta have a winner, it's me. He couldn't hide the sheepish pride in his voice. Slightly thicker. Maybe. Firth wasn't one to go down without qualification. I still say I'd win with a few hours of warm-up. Nothing like a woman to inspire. A good eyebrow waggle completed the image. Maybe, Adam retorted with a smirk, but I'm still the biggest until you can prove it. I bet my nuts are bigger. I'm not going there, laughed Adam. Fuck, you don't let anything go, do you? Firth stoically nodded his agreement, then smirked a lecherous grin. Nope. This triggered another round of teasing and highly improbable stories, all of which served to introduce that special embarrassed pride to which Adam was strangely vulnerable. The men jeered along raucously and attracted the rolling eyes and smiles of the pub regulars. Their antics were well understood by this point. Yep, biggest and strongest on the team in every way that matters, Adam grumbled good-naturedly. Now, as for the tall fucks like you, he gestured towards the rest of the team. My perfectly sensible height gives me so much better leverage that makes me even strong. My perfectly sensible height gives me the my perfectly sensible height gives me much better leverage, and that makes me even stronger. Deal with it. Still need a tool to still need a tool. Still need a tool to stool. Stool. The word is stool. Still need a stool to reach the top shelf in the cupboards, though. Heh. It was part of the ritual that each must be teased for their essential quality. Audie's for his enormous size and strength, coupled with his relatively short stature, Firth for his mostly stoic reserve, Blazinski for his wild, lampshade on head attitude towards life, Vandenberg for his resolute engineer's worldview, and so forth. A thought seemed to hit Audie's as he took a drink. Wait, dude, why not you? Your back's actually wider than mine. You should have the Sistine Chapel. Think of how much detail they could put in it. Firth chuckled. Nah, my body is a temple and all that. He took a pull of his beer and considered the idea. I mean, it'd be awesome, but a tattoo that big would take forever and be expensive. There was a general nodding in agreement. Yeah, definitely a lot of canvas to work with. Oh, wait, there's a whole lot more. Oh, ah. There was a general nodding in agreement. Yeah, definitely a lot of canvas to work with. Oh, wait, horse is like a topo map. He should do a map of the town. Dude, and he could add it to the town grow. Ah, where am I? There was a general nodding in agreement. Yeah, definitely a lot of canvas to work with. Oh, wait, horses is more like a topo map. He should do a map of the town. Dude, and he could add to it as the town grows. Akiyama snorted. Pull double duty for tourists. You are here, he suggested and flexed extravagantly. Several nearby people turned to watch. Burgess piled on. And you're practically never wearing a shirt, so it'd work. Just because I'm pretty and I ain't covered in acres of that curly bullshit you call hair, Adam shot back, breaking his Just because I'm pretty and I ain't covered in acres of that curly bullshit you call hair, Adam shot back, breaking out his trademark toothy puppy-like grin. Nah, a horse map's Nah, a horse map wouldn't work, Sykes commented. We'd have to re-landscape the town to match them muscles. Take years. Adam rolled his eyes and grinned. He liked the teasing, found it very comfortable. He was perhaps not as glib or as clever as some of the others, but he could fire back as he was perhaps not as glib he was perhaps not as glib as God damn it. He was perhaps not as glib or as clever as some of the others, but he could fire back at need. It was the affection it represented that mattered. Something changed slightly in Murray's attitude. He was always the quiet one and always looking around at whatever was going on nearby, but that much was normal. He was always paying attention, even when not looking at his friends, but everyone could tell when something grabbed his full attention. Whoa, he grunted, which was the first thing he'd said all night. Firth followed Murphy's gaze, and a flash of something crossed the big man's face, so fast it almost wasn't there at all. It was hard to read exactly what emotion had visited him so briefly, but whatever it was, it had been ape ancient and intense, and clearly not civilized. He got that. Fuck. He got like that sometimes. Every so often, when he was relaxed and happy, and his control maybe needed a split second to catch up, one saw glimpses of something much older and darker beneath Firth's generally phlegmatic interior. He got like that sometimes. Every so often, when he was relaxed and happy and his control maybe needed a split second to catch up, one saw glimpses of something much older and darker beneath Firth's generally phlegmatic exterior. He was a very primal man. They all were, of course. One could not do a job like theirs without some familiarity with the primitive animal side of oneself. Firth, though, he was definitely more in touch with his own aggressive nature, and it showed just a bit more. Need water. Okay, is anybody else here? You still here, Greg? Greg Wunderlich? Oh, well. I appear to be the only person here at the moment. Okay, where am I? Where was I? Adam wasn't particularly bothered by Adam wasn't particularly bothered by that. He could see the emotion, understand it viscerally, but the nature or origin of it wasn't something he pondered. Firth was a good guy after all, a reliable friend, adored puppies and children, and was an excellent combatives instructor. The object of Murray's uncharacteristic verbosity was sidling up to the bar wearing a blue dress and high heels in the company of some friends, and it took Adam a moment to recognize her and quite why Firth's response had been so intense. Is that Deacon? Akiyama asked. Never seen her in a skirt. Ah, is that Deacon? Is that Deacon? Akiyama asked. Never seen her in a skirt before. Yeah, Firth grunted and grabbed his beer. Corporal Briar Deacon was one of his two suit technicians, which meant automatically that her technical training was far in advance of any of the operators, and that she was deceptively strong. Techs had to be. Getting their operators in and out of their EV mass systems involved plenty of hauling and shoving. Between her feminine strength and butterscotch hair and hazel eyes, she looked good in uniform. Out of uniform, she was stunning. Murray finished his beer in one easy, flexible, and silent movement. Murray finished his beer, and in one easy, flexible, and silent movement, he slithered upright from being reclined sideways across a chair. My round. My round, he announced. But you got the last. Akiyama raised a hand to object, but Murray was having none of it. My round, he grinned, stepped around through the My round, he grinned, and stepped around through the crowd with an easy dexterity that completely belied his enormous size. He was easily the largest man in the room outside of his friends, legitimately huge, in fact, but the other men of the SOR were bigger still. Murray was, in fact, the smallest man on the team besides Powell. Firth, Burgess, and Oddies, those three were absolute giants. Some minutes later, he would return with several beers and no Deacon. Struck out? Firth asked. She has to be all bloody sensible and don't mix business and pleasure. She has to be all bloody sensible and don't mix business with pleasure. She has to be all bloody sensible and doesn't mix business and pleasure, Murray grumbled good-naturedly. She said that? She said, sorry, Murray, I don't shit where I eat. Charming lass. Firth snorted in approval, and his eyes twinkled as he looked at her. There was none of the dark flicker from before. It was all mirth and perhaps a bit of admiration. Murray looked back at her with a not dissimilar expression, and both men froze solid. A second later, with rather A second later, with rather better reflexes than Firth, he was on his feet again and, via whatever ninja magic powered him, all but teleported to the bar and tapped firmly on the shoulder of a young man who was standing next to Deacon with his arms folded on the lap. Ah. Murray looked back at her with a not dissimilar expression, and both men froze solid. A second later, with rather better reflexes than Firth, he was on his feet again and, via whatever ninja magic powered him, all but teleported to the bar and tapped firmly on the shoulder of a young man who was standing next to Deacon with his arms folded on the bar top, apparently minding his own business. Firth remained where he was, barely. Nobody else had seen what had happened, but Adam was good at reading people. On Murray, there was no humor, only deadly serious intent. On Deacon, there was confusion, then a shocked inspection of her cocktail. On the young man, there was desperation and a pantomime of innocence. On Firth, there was murder. Anyone could have read it. Many did and backed away. He was practically trembling in place, clenching his fists, his massive leg bouncing angrily in lieu of action. The bar's security had already seen the trouble and were moving to deal with it. By now, SOR and the security folks had a very solid mutual understanding and respect, and so any sudden movement by any of the operators was enough to alert the team. First seat creaked slightly as he leaned sideways to whisper to Adam. "Horse," he croaked, "get me the fuck out of here before I do something stupid. Okay?" Being those days an irredeemable meathead, Adam thought of the best remedy he could. "Go lift? Punching bag?" "Yeah, anything, whatever." "Yeah, let's go. Maybe wrestling." "No, not that. Punching bag sounds good." "Okay, let's go to my private gym, though. It's private." "Okay, let's go to my gym, though. It's private." Firth grunted in reply. They parted the group, who didn't ask questions, stepped outside, shucked off their nice shoes and socks, rolled up their slacks, knocked fists, and set off at a jog, warming their muscles for the coming exertion and cleaning the alcohol from their minds. It always rained at night in Folkville. The weather pattern was so stable that the colonists sometimes joked the whole thing half-past fog or 20 minutes of... It always rained at night in Folkville. The weather pattern was so stable that the colonists sometimes joked about the time being half-past fog or 20 minutes to drizzle. Whether that would change as the imported Death World life took over and corrupted, killed, and supplanted the native biomes remained to be seen. But for now, night meant rain, and Cimbrian wasn't a warm planet. The rain was skin-tighteningly cold, just the way they liked it. It made for lonely streets, also good. Together, Adam and Firth hit their stride round about the time they reached West Bridge, pounding over it with each slamming footfall making its wires and steel structure produce a dull ring. In the dark, the river that rushed below them was black and invisible. They wheeled left and ran along beside the river as they went, the cold rain soaking them through and the puddles splashing pleasantly as they stomped their way through Midtown into... They wheeled left and ran along beside the river as they went, the cold rain soaking them through and the puddles splashing. They wheeled left and... Fuck. Need more water. Okay. See, somebody came in and then somebody left. So I don't know who's here or who's not. Where was I again? They wheeled left and ran along beside the river as they went, the cold rain soaking them through and the puddles splashing pleasantly as they stopped their way through Midtown onto Demeter Way and picked up the pace to an outright run for the last kilometer. Normally, this was all something Adam would enjoy. When he was exercising, normally this was something Adam would fuck. Normally, this was something Adam would enjoy. When he was exercising his body, his mind could disconnect from the reality of his exertions. Fueled by the rush of blood and endorphins, he could contemplate matters on a more clear-headed way than when he was Fueled by the rush of blood and endorphins, he could contemplate matters in a more clear-headed way than was his resting experience. He craved exercise for that exact reason. He quite literally felt more aware, more intelligent. He could observe and meditate on the landscape and think. He could observe and meditate on the landscape and think. The light exercise didn't seem to have much effect on Firth's mood. This was different. It wasn't like his normal stoic calm with an amused smirk and a friendly. This wasn't like Light exercise didn't seem to have much effect on Firth's mood. This was different. It wasn't like his normal stoic calm with an amused smirk and a friendly yet mildly intimidating smile. Nope. Butchered. Light exercise didn't seem to have much effect on Firth's mood. This was different. It wasn't like his normal stoic calm and with an amused smirk and a friendly yet mildly intimidating sense of his own superiority. Nor was it like his occasional outbursts of exuberant joy at cute internet videos, or perhaps an impressive athletic achievement by himself, or anyone else for that matter. Nor was it the quiet, intense happiness he radiated when something warmed him, like watching children playing in the park. Recently, a couple of Gowan cubs joined the human children under the watchful eyes of parents and caretakers. And it definitely wasn't the dark primal feelings that very occasionally flashed across his face like Adam had seen tonight. No, Christian Firth was brooding, and he was quiet. This was the silence of bubbling rage. They arrived at the building Adam co-owned with Akiyama on Demeter Way, then thumped upstairs to change and... They arrived at the building Adam co-owned with Akiyama on Demeter Way, then thumped upstairs to change and mix a quick pre-workout drink. Without needing a word, they shucked off their nice, soaked clothing, Without needing a word, they shucked off their nice, soaked clothing, threw that into the washing machine, changed into their usual, almost not... Fuck. My eyes are rushing ahead of my brain. Without needing a word, they shucked off their nice, soaked clothing, threw that into the washing machine, changed into their usual, almost not their gym attire, Adam loaned Christian a pair from the ever-reliable Ranger shorts, and back down the stairs they went, both slamming down the pre-workout as they went. This was a special formulation of Adams and SOR Medical's design. It was a heavy stimulant, amongst other things, dosed for hyper-fit and strong men pushing many hundreds of pounds of dense conditioned muscle. A normal person consuming it would almost certainly experience distress. For Adam and Christian, it just got the blood moving a bit more. They went straight downstairs, ignored the ground floor, and grabbed a gallon of electrolyte water from the next... They went straight down the stairs, ignored the ground floor, and grabbed a gallon of the... Fuck. They went straight down the stairs, ignored the ground floor, and grabbed a gallon of the electrolyte water from... They went straight down the stairs, ignored the ground floor, and grabbed a gallon of the electrolyte water from the stand next to the basement doorway. The gym wasn't open to the public yet, as the process of starting a business, hiring staff, and installing equipment was slow and needed to be done with care. However, the basement was complete, and that was designed for only the most hardcore lifters. Titan may have owned it on paper, and eventually it would be open, inevitably only. Titan may have owned it on paper, and eventually it would be open, invitation only, to the public, but it belonged to Horse and Base, and now Righteous. Firth didn't even bother with a proper warm-up. He simply walked up to the specially designed punching bag and started beating on it like he was generally trying to murder the poor thing. It was a very heavy bag, as heavy as Audie's, and it was hard, so hard that a man could break their fists punching it. Nonetheless, Firth had it swinging violently in mere seconds, and the ceiling support groaned under the strain of restraint. Adam approached, alarmed. "Hey, wait, don't smash up my shit. Let me hold the damn thing." Christian paused and glared a death stare almost right through Adam's head. Yeah, okay. Adam had a sudden insight and realized this workout didn't call for a Zen-like approach. This would be a special session, past even the eerie calm of the Protector's workings and well beyond what the other team members could and would put themselves through. For tonight, Adam unlocked his hate. Hello? Well, there was somebody here. Adam could still remember a time when he hadn't known the real fundamentals of exercise. Adam could still remember a time when he hadn't known the real fundamentals of exercise, including the critical distinction. Adam could still remember a time when he hadn't known the real fundamentals of exercise, including the critical distinction. Adam could remember a time when he Adam could still remember a time when he hadn't known the real fundamentals of exercise, including the critical distinction between strength and performance. The latter wasn't so much one category as a library of forms, all geared to a specific type of action, activity, or performance, but beneath and fundamental to any athletic performance lay strength. As the foundation on which all aspects of the body depended, no amount of flexibility, technique, or precision would help if the athlete was not strong or enduring enough in the first place. Strength contributed greatly to general health, to mental awareness, and perhaps counterintuitively to all aspects of kinesthetic control. All serious athletic training involved getting strong, and to get strong, the single most effective exercise was to lift, and lift hard. But lifting was challenging. Some movements, like the deadlift, engaged virtually every muscle of the body in a lift that, while at high... But lifting was challenging. Some movements, like the deadlift, engaged virtually every muscle of the body in a lift that, at high weights, required enormous strength, immense body control, flawless technique, and an absolute will to succeed. The measure of success was brutally simple. Did the athlete lift the bar and reach a fully upright posture? If not, they had failed. If not, they had failed. No gray areas, no degrees, just a man, a goal, and a heavy object that would brook nothing but perfection. Adam, John, Christian, all of the SOR had those aforementioned qualities in spades, but there was a definite spread amongst the men on where their emphasis lay. The aggressors trained for strength, of course. Adam would not permit them otherwise, even if they weren't already perfectly willing and interested. But most of their time was spent in performance training, because their functions on the team required them to move and twist through the environment in ways that would awe any kung fu stuntman. Dabblers in parkour or the actual combat athlete. Dabblers in parkour or the actual combat athletes of modern militaries. The aggressors were trained to the point that, to them, the world was a massive, effortless jungle gym. Even while burdened by well over 100 pounds of EV mass suit and at least another 100 or so in ammo and weapons. Defenders were much more interested in their strength training. Their jobs required them to remain mobile, Defenders were much more interested in their strength training. Their jobs required them to remain mobile, and bouncing around under heavier armor and weightier loads, they also needed a functional and Defenders were much more interested in their strength training. Their jobs required them to remain mobile and bouncing around under heavier armor and heavier loads. They also needed a functional endurance that was the difference from And they also needed a functional endurance that was different from the aggressors. Where the latter needed lasting speed, the former required endless power. And as the defenders didn't need quite the acrobatic ability, none of the speed of the aggressors their As the defenders didn't need quite the acrobatic ability and none of the speed of the aggressors, their extra time was spent in gym. As the defenders didn't quite need the acrobatic ability and none of the speed of the aggressors, their extra time spent in the gym with the protectors. Missed a word. As the defenders didn't need quite the acrobatic ability and none of the speed of the aggressors, their extra time was spent in the gym with the protectors. As a result, every defender was substantially stronger than any of the aggressors, except Firth. He was like Burgess and Otis. He took strength to another level. And of course, the protectors, more than anyone else, needed absolute insane strength and endurance. Nobody else had such heavy, tightly crushing versions of EV mass. Nobody else wore thick and dense ceramic plating on top of that to compensate for their need to sit still. Nobody else wore thick and dense ceramic plating on top of that to compensate for their need to sit still while treating patients. Nobody else had such an irreducibly heavy and bulky pile of mission gear, much of which they must have on their person at all times. Nobody else needed to maneuver through the battle space with aggressor-like speed as if all that mass wasn't there to carry and climb and hump it all over long distances, and sometimes with their fallen comrades and their gear, as well through a three-dimensional rescue environment. The protectors were supreme. Their needs went so far beyond the defenders that it proved nearly impossible to recruit individuals with the required genetics, aptitude, ability, and force of personality to reach such superhuman. Their needs went so far beyond the defenders that it proved nearly impossible to recruit individuals with the required genetics, aptitude, ability, and force of personality to reach such superhuman strength. God damn it. Their needs went so far beyond the defenders that it proved nearly impossible to recruit individuals with the required genetics, aptitude, ability, and force of personality to reach such superhuman levels of ability. Their needs went so far beyond the defenders that it proved nearly impossible to recruit individuals with the required genetics, aptitude, ability, and levels of personality to reach such superhuman levels of ability. In retrospect, the SOR had seriously lucked out with Adam and John. They had the right stuff for the job, like, so far, only one other candidate had. The right stuff was many things, but ultimately it came down to willpower, which was the true difference between the protectors, defenders, and aggressors. The aggressor treated the weights like any serious athlete. It was something they did to grow stronger, and enable their stunning performance. The defenders, there was substantially more interest in raw power, so their attitude was. The defenders, they were substantially more interested in raw power, so their attitude was much like that of a dedicated Drim. Drim? What the fuck is a Drim? The defenders, they were substantially more interested in raw power, so their attitude was much like that of a dedicated gym rat. Where the aggressors would grunt and growl and swear to get through their sets, defenders would yell, taunt, rage, and snarl, anything at all to get their adrenaline and endorphins flowing and their blood pumping. The protectors, they'd been doing that since they turned 17 and began their radical crudy regimens. Endless pain and training was something they'd known their entire adult lives. To them, it went beyond simple experience. They'd learned how to detach from the suffering, to treat it as an abstract thought. It was almost a meditation. In fact, They learned how to detach from the suffering, to treat it as an abstract thought. It was almost a meditation, in fact. So rather than yell and curse and jump about, they simply went about their business, quietly and with little expression. Their only noises were those their bodies demanded. Okay, we're halfway through this chapter. So, is there anybody left here? If so, say hello in chat. Oh well. Singing in the rain. It was an eerie and disconcerting thing to watch. While the others understood it, they all came from serious special operations disciplines, after all. None were as motivated by duty, job, function, and a sense of self worth as the protectors to be strong. All the others shied away when Adam and John entered their meditative lifting trance. They were wordlessly. All the others shied away when Adam and John entered their meditative lifting trance, where they wordlessly exercised until muscles visibly bruised. Everyone was uncomfortable about it. Everyone except for Firth. He alone shared their dedication. What exactly drove him, audience did not know, only that some months before Capital Station, Firth approached them and asked them to be. What exactly drove him, audience did not know, only that some months before Capital Station, Firth approached them and asked to be shown how he could grow strong like the Protectors. Adam and John stumbled through their explanation. They'd never really discussed what they do, only intuited it. And before long, Firth too had discovered the secret of it. His weight sessions were still shorter than the Protectors, but his weight sessions were still shorter than the Protectors, but he executed them with the same terrifying efficiency. And combined with his newfound appetite, his strength and mass shot through the roof. He was always a big man, at least a few inches taller than anyone else on the team of. He was always a big man, at least a few inches taller than anyone else on the team of enormous men, and so naturally tall and broad that his head and shoulders brushed door frames. Even before his very first dose of True D, he was, in fact, so naturally large and powerful that when the team first came together, he was both bigger and stronger than either of the Protectors. Their strength shot past his in pretty quick order, of course, and as the team rolled. Their strength shot past him in pretty quick order, of course, as the team roles crystallized and everyone's training emphasized different things. Falling behind clearly didn't sit well with Firth until Capital Station. Falling behind clearly didn't sit well with Firth. Until Capital Station, he could still claim. Until Capital Station, he could still claim he was the biggest and easiest, the fastest. Until Capital Station, he could still claim he was the biggest and easily the fastest man on the team, and anywhere else for that matter. Falling behind clearly didn't sit well with Firth. Until Capital Station, he could still claim that he was the biggest and easily the fastest man on the team, and anywhere else for that matter, even if his strength had been quickly surpassed. But a few months before that incident, both Adam and John had beaten him in those measures too. Their masses had steadily grown to the point where they easily surpassed Firth, and of course, their strength was in a league all its own, and they were still growing across all dimensions at a breakneck pace. Adam had always thought this may have bothered Christian on a deep level, and the recent months served as confirmation. Thought I turned that fucking thing off. Hang on, I'll be right back. Sorry about that. I had to disconnect the ice maker. Okay, where am I? Okay. Adam had always thought that may have bothered Christian on a deep level, and the recent months served as confirmation. He was the single most competitive man anyone on the team had ever met, and so, in the soundproof basement of Adam's building, Firth unleashed his rage against the bag. Adam held the bag steadily and responded with his hate. He didn't know the source of it, not really. What he did know that what he did know was that What he did know was that beyond Zen, past pain and meditation and calm, there was a nuclear white hot ball of absolute motivation with him. It hurt, and he didn't quite understand it, but he knew that if he looked at it, hated the universe, but he knew that if he looked at it, hated the universe and thought of nothing but his desire to act from the beginning. He didn't know the source of it, not really. What he did know was that beyond Zen, past pain and meditation and calm, there was a nuclear white hot ball of absolute motivation with him. He didn't know the source of it, not really. What he did know, God damn it, he didn't know the source of it, not really. What he did know is that beyond Zen, past pain, meditation, and calm, there was a nuclear white hot ball of absolute motivation within him. It hurt, and it didn't quite understand it, but he knew that if he looked at it, hated the universe, and thought of nothing but his desire to spite the source of the hate, he could do things not even Burgess could match. And Firth, then and there, was in the same headspace. The first sign of weakness either of them gave came a few minutes into the onslaught. Firth hit the bag with a wild, powerful haymaker, one so violent that Adam actually had to take a step back and replant his enormous feet on the mat. Christian, seeing this, gunned a savage grin and upped his effort until Adam had to grit his teeth and hold on tight. He didn't get a chance to settle himself properly again. He could only put his shoulder to it and fight back, almost as if Firth was unloading into his ribs rather than a bag. It became a proxy battle between them. Audis withstanding the assault through cold, hard hatred, and Firth pressing the attack through a roaring bout of kicking, punching, and boundless animal rage. It couldn't last. Firth wobbled, but before he fell, it could not last. Firth wobbled, but before he fell, he attacked one more time with such savagery that the bag finally ripped open, spilling sand, sawdust, and buckshot everywhere. He yelled in triumph and then collapsed onto the floor. Adam, with no strength left and no bag to support himself against, fell as well. Firth still had some aggressive energy in him, and so he weakly tackled Adam and wrestled him into a pin. But that was not in anger. It was affectionate, born of a desperate need to connect, perhaps to apologize. Adam couldn't say. In fact, he was too tired and punch-drunk to resist anyways. Firth pinned and hugged, and they rested. There was a long moment full of nothing but the two exhausted men trying to recover their breath. Then Firth propped himself up on a wobbly arm and took a good look at Adam, checking he was right. There was a big long moment full of nothing but two exhausted men trying to... There was a long exhausted moment full of nothing but two exhausted... There was a long full... Fuck! There was a long moment full of nothing but two exhausted men trying to recover their breath. Then Firth propped himself up on wobbly arms and took a good look at Adam, checking he was all right. Adam recovered some of his wind first. Are you okay? Yeah, thanks, Firth panted a bit more. You? Uh-huh. That help? Adam tried unsuccessfully to roll out of Firth's... Uh-huh. That help? Adam tried unsuccessfully to roll out of Firth's hug pin. Firth chuckled and flopped off, too spent to continue. Oh, God, yes. Thanks. You're the best, bro. He barely managed to grunt it out between desperate draws of air. Are you good? Adam also caught his breath, still a bit too stunned to process what happened. Yeah, Firth nodded. then allowed himself to fall over backwards and put his arm on his forehead to ward off the light. And yeah, Firth nodded, then allowed himself to fall over backwards and put an arm on his forehead to ward off the light as he lay on the cool mat. No, I don't know. Yeah, I'm good now. Feel me? Adam, well conditioned to exertion at this level, caught his wind a bit quicker and more completely. Something's eating you, man. I've never seen you like that before. He paused, unsure how to proceed. I don't much like letting that guy out. Adam listened for his own reasons beyond helping. Adam listened for his own reasons beyond helping a friend. He had a knack of pulling more out of people with silence, much like his father did. Firth sighed and sat up, taking a moment to wedge himself into a cross-legged seat and winced in exertion. Like the fucking Viking or caveman or whatever the fuck he is. Christian leaned forward, resting his elbows on his knees. I gotta beat that motherfucker down every fucking day. Sometimes it's so bad I gotta, like right now, he's the bit of me that fucking loves hurting people, and Christ. Adam sensed he needed to be brave. That look I saw earlier tonight, you do that with everyone? Yeah, everyone. Even people I would never ever hurt. Usually it's just in my head, but sometimes it shows through. He looked down, grabbed at his big feet and sighed. And I fucking hate it, man. I hate it because, I don't know, part of me really likes that feeling. So, that thing with Deacon tonight and the creep, that piece of shit, that piece of shit. First fist clenched, and he glared at it and relaxed his hand again. You want to know the disgusting fucking truth, man? I get scum like him, because I got some pretty wild and sick thoughts running in my head. Fuck. Sorry about that. Something went down the wrong pipe. Yeah, the psychologists tell me I'm a well-balanced extreme warrior personality or something. I don't buy it. Normal people don't constantly fantasize about slowly tearing the limbs off their enemies or overpowering people or... His face screwed up in a pained expression. Adam sat silent for a while. But you don't do what he did, and you're the best dude with kids I've ever seen. First snorted contemptuously. Bro, do you have any idea how much that fucks with me? Like, ever think why I don't get to keep a steady girl? Like, ever think why I didn't get it? Like, ever think why I didn't keep a steady girl before Freya? When I did, had an actual relationship, I mean, not just getting laid, right? Lauren was her name. Didn't go well at all. Had to end it before, like, part of me would just want to snuggle her all day long, and another part wanted to... He couldn't voice it. A flash of deep, unabiding sorrow crossed his face, along with a swallow. Adam watched Christian's big Adam's apple bob, and his eyes blink away tears furiously. Firth was in pain, just thinking of Lauren. Adam tried a different tactic. Okay, but you're not a... Adam tried a different tactic. Okay, but you've not had him with Freya. No, not with her. Why? I don't know. Kristen was suddenly paying rapt attention to Adam. So, you think you protected Lauren by dumping her and living alone? Yeah, bullshit. Firth looked up and bullshit. Firth looked at. Firth looked up in stunned silence, which Adam filled by pressing on. You're full of bullshit, man. I don't really care what you think about. I don't really care about what you think. What I care about is what you actually do. So you've got these. So you've got these urges. Well, how long have you had them? Since about 12 or so earlier. Around when I noticed girls were awesome, I guess. I mean, I really noticed them, not just puppy love shit. Fine. You ever acted on any of that? No. You ever gonna? Fuck no. No. I rest my case. Dude, it ain't that simple. What if what if I wind up like that piece of shit at the bar? What if I lose control? I mean, okay, right now it's just like a thought that flicks through my head, but what if one took hold? What if I got obsessed? What if I actually did something? Adam gave him the Adam gave him the most deadly serious look he could muster. Then I would stop you, and you've got friends here who would do the same. He stood up and grabbed a towel off the rack. He stood up and grabbed a couple towels off the rack. This is why you got so mad, though, isn't it? Because you saw that guy being weak. Yes, Firth. Yes, Firth said with such cold fury, with absolute disgust, that there could be no doubting his sincerity. I could see myself in him. I'm afraid of that. Nah, that's what you hate, bro. That's what. Look at you. You're fucking shaking right now. You did that to my bag. Nah, that's what you hate, bro. That's what. Look at you. You're fucking shaking right now. You did that to my bag. He gestured to its mangled remains. And not even Base could do that. Hell, I couldn't do that. That's genuinely impressive. And why'd you do it? Because you hate the caveman, right? And that right there tells me I'm never gonna have to stop you. You're one of the good guys. And that right there tells me I'm never gonna have to stop you. You're one of the good guys. Firth paused, and more of a stoic resolve finally cracked. His eyes watered very slightly. Thanks. I really mean that. I'll try and prove you right, I promise. Adam felt the need to inject a small amount of levity into the situation. Well, you gotta, man. I mean, you're a master sergeant, and I'm supposed to look up to you. There's a height joke in there. Well, you gotta, man. I mean, you're a master sergeant, and I'm supposed to look up to you. There's a height joke in there, I know it. Something that was a half laugh and a half sob burst out of Firth. You asshole. Mm-hmm. Adam nodded vigorously. You know what? Let's go upstairs. Good movie night. Just us. I got a huge couch, big enough for you, me, even baseball. Heh. Heh. They wobbled over to the stairway and tiredly thumped their way up to the penthouse. The new door had a palm lock on it. Carrying keys and ranger shorts was pretty much impossible, and Adam paused at the ledge. You know what? Here, he entered a code. Stick your palm here. Firth did, and the lock beeped in acceptance. You ever need to come over, you can, okay? No need to ask beforehand. Just, don't barge in if it sounds like I'm having fun, eh? Firth just nodded and they let themselves in. The penthouse was more a bachelor party pad than luxury home, and it showed and smelled. Despite the best effort of the Despite the best effort of the cleaners, Adam hadn't. Despite the best efforts of the cleaners, Adam had in twice a week. There was a lingering beer and sex. Fuck. Despite the best efforts of the cleaners, Adam had in twice a week. There was a lingering beer and sex. Despite the best efforts of the cleaners, Adam had in twice a week. There was a lingering beer and sex musk that never quite went away. Firth gave a good sniff. Heh, smells like my old apartment. Adam rolled his eyes. Yeah, at least it's clean. Also, what? Dude, you're a caveman before all this. Also, what? Dude, were you a caveman before all this? Bro, you know exactly what kind of dude I was. I've always been a big boy, he said with. Bro, you know exactly what kind of dude I was. I've always been a big boy. He said it with the same smug, slightly friendly, superior smirk that was his trademark. Act. He said it with the same smug, slightly friendly, superior smirk that was his trademark, the one that was part joke, part ego. He was back to normal. So, movie? Adam tried to recall what he wanted to see. Oh, yeah, Big Hero 6? Ain't never seen numbers 1 through 5. Ain't never seen numbers 1 through 5. There aren't 1 through 5. Oh, fine, laugh it up, wise ass. Adam rolled his eyes and prepped the required movie snacks, while Christian bounced about the apartment, inspecting everything with a mild grin of approval. The building was constructed well. One could hardly feel Adam or Christian's movements across the floor. They started the movie and snuggled up like they would. They started the movie and snuggled up like they would back in the barracks, with a huge bowl of popcorn, growlers of beer, and a massive pile of homemade beef jerky. The couch wasn't quite as large as the one in the barracks, but as promised, it was big and extremely comfortable, and easily swallowed them both up into its soft depths. They had neglected to shower, sadly. The cleaners would not be pleased. Where am I saw a message pop up somewhere, and I have no idea where the hell it was. Give me just a moment. I have no idea where that comment was or what it was. I got nothing. Well, shit. Okay, if there's anybody here, wave hi in chat. Oh well. Continuing on, I think, if I can find it. They watched the opening in silence for a long while, munching their snacks in peace, but it quickly became apparent that Firth wasn't actually watching the movie. He clearly had something on his mind that he was chewing over. Yo, like, what's your guy like? He asked. His expression was suddenly very earnest and intense. Huh? Adam frowned at him. Like, I've got my caveman guy. Who you've got? I never thought of it. I never thought of a dude, Adam like. I never thought of a dude, Adam said. Like, there's not like a different Adam in there. There's just the hate. It was Christian's turn to listen silently and intently, and Adam learned that this trick worked fine on him in return. It was Christian's turn to listen silently and intently, and Adam learned that this trick worked fine on him as well. Fuck. It was Christian's turn to listen silently and intently, and Adam learned that this trick worked fine on him in return. This is going to sound so fucking emo. Look, just think of all the shit I went through, you know? Dude, I just confessed to rape fantasies and implied a hell of a lot worse. You can't scare me. Adam didn't reply to that. He paused the movie and stared through the static images on screen for a second, gathering his words. Mom and Dad divorced when I was 10. Custody hearing went Mom's way. Never mind that she was an alcoholic and DFCS involved all the time. At 15, I had to call in a SWAT team because some dude was about to shoot up the roller derby arena I was at on my first date with Ava. Dad comes with, gets shot, permanent nerve damage. He starts recovering. Me and Ava are going steady. We go over to Orlando for vacation. We're getting ice cream at Universal Studios when we heard the big news. He put his beer down. 2 million dead. 2 fucking million. My mom, my aunt, my cousins, all my friends, my school, the whole thing. Firth swallowed uncomfortably, then nudged closer. Shit, dude. I didn't really think about it. Fuck, I'm sorry. He meant it, and dragged Adam across the couch and swallowed him up in a full body hug, with arms and shoulders and legs around the waist, head nuzzled against his head, and everything pressed together with an incredible force only Adam could comfortably bear. And from the beginning. Shit, dude. I really didn't think about it. Fuck. I'm sorry. He meant it, and dragged Adam across the couch and swallowed him up in a full body hug, with arms and shoulders and legs around waist, head nuzzled against head, and everything pressed together with an incredible force only Adam could comfortably bear. The extremes of emotion Firth could experience were easily the wildest on the team. That, if anything, was Adam's lesson tonight. Adam, meanwhile, spoke quietly. He just kept talking, going steadily quieter and more monotone, while Firth hugged tighter and tighter. I don't even remember it. Not really. It's like a dream. I was just sitting in the hotel room, watching like everyone knew the world was changed, but mine was gone. Just like that. I don't really remember what we were doing for months until we jumped here to Cimbrian that first time. Fuck. Firth took a big swig of beer and handed Adam some jerky. The hug never loosened. The gesture seemed to bring some life back to Adam's face, and even managed a weak smile. We started putting it back together, you know? You never saw this place in the early days, man, before the real building work got started. It was like a camp or a village or something. We were all in these little portable chalet things, dirt roads, the trees came right up to the river. I made new friends, went to a new school. Made a really good friend. Kinda naive, but oh shit, Firth realized suddenly. It was her. Adam gave a genuinely sad, apologetic look, as if to say, I didn't mean to bring this up. Adam wiped off his face with both hands. You know the fucking rest, man. I can't. Life just keeps shitting on me. Firth kept hugging and Firth kept hugging and unpaused the movie, but neither were watching. That's your motivation, isn't it? It's your fuck. Now I understand. I've seen you when you think you're lifting alone, man. It's bro. Can I make another confession? Adam looked up and waited. You're the only man I've ever met that scares me. Adam's silence this time wasn't in Adam's silence this time wasn't an inviting one. It was the thoughtful one he'd used when corralling his words. I have two options, he said at last. I can despair or I can hate. I can look at all the shit that's happened and all the beautiful people it should have happened to, and I can despair or I can hate. I can look at all the shit that's happened and all the beautiful shit in God damn it. I have two options, he said at last. I can despair or I can hate. I can look all the God damn it. Helps if I'd actually read the words on the page. I have two options, he said at last. I can despair or I can hate. I can look at all the shit that's happened and all the beautiful people it should have happened. Shouldn't have. Shouldn't have. I was confused about that. I have two options, he said at last. I can despair or I can hate. I can look at all the shit that's happened and all the beautiful people it shouldn't have happened to, and I can say no, not on my watch, over my dead body. That right there is the hate, bro. I hate. I hate everything for not caring about us. And I kind of hate myself because I know that no matter what I do, I'll never be strong enough to protect everyone. I'm not even strong enough to protect myself. Firth pondered that for a while. He finished his beer, contemplated the empty growler, then arrived at a decision. Bullshit, man. Just like you called on me. You're not like, dude, you have a team of dudes who ain't even dude, you have a team of dudes who ain't God. You're like, dude, you have a team of dudes you ain't even ever gonna fuck. You're like, dude, you have a team of dudes who ain't ever gonna let you do this shit alone, you hear? Not ever. And he built his resolve. I'm not gonna let you do this alone, man. I've seen the shit we're getting into. This is a big fight. I want to murder these fuckers, dude. And I'm special like you, I think. I'm pretty sure I can do what you do. Just, I don't really know how. Not like you. He detangled and stood up and rose to his full impressive height. Make me strong enough to help. Make me strong enough to kill them all. Adam gave him a long, slow appraisal. It's a double-edged sword, he said. I pushed Ava away doing this. You sure you want that? Yes, he said without hesitation. I need this. I need to be for something, man. What better thing can there be than to save humanity from extinction? Adam shrugged. Being human, he suggested. First smiled ruefully. Heh, well, maybe we can figure that out along the way. Deal? Adam extended his hand. They shook on it, then pulled each other back into another body. Deal. They enjoyed each other's company quietly through the evening, drinking all the beer and doing another workout, that one heavy, long, raw, and brutally intense. They thumped back upstairs without any concerns for anything except each other, plopped directly back into the couch, and binge-watched crappy anime. They ordered more beer and 4 extra large pizzas. They ordered more beer and 4 extra large pizzas each and ate it all. Finally, they fell asleep on the couch to awful pay-per-view bliss. Finally, they fell asleep on the couch to awful pay-per-view, blissed out and entangled, blissed out and entangled like zoinked out puppies, drunk, happy, lazy, with full bellies, and at peace. The next morning, Adam awoke to first detangle himself. The next morning, Firth woke to Firth. The next morning, Adam awoke to first detangling himself from Firth's The next morning, Adam awoke to Firth detangling himself from Adam's sleepy, death-gripped bear hug and worm. The next morning, Adam awoke to first detangling himself from Adam's sleepy, death-gripped bear hug and worming off the couch. Muzzy-headed, Adam asked, "Bro, where are you going? It's like 4 in the morning." Firth had already pulled off his shorts, thrown them in the washer, and was headed towards the shower. "Yeah, I know. I just like to pray alone." Adam sat up, mildly surprised. "Really?" "Mm-hmm. It clears my head. Helps me, I guess. It's comforting." "I didn't know you were the religious type." He fidgeted uncomfortably. "Always kind of was. Remember our talk about me at 13? Yeah. I sort of knew I needed a strong hand from the beginning. There was this priest, Father Jacob. He seemed to get me. And I've always sort of just enjoyed the prayer. It's calming." He grinned. "And I've always just sort of enjoyed the prayer. It's calming." He grinned. Mom and Dad always thought I was a good boy until the end of the week. Father Jacob Mom and Dad always thought I was a good boy until the end of the week. Father Jacob joked it was the devil found me out once again. That important, huh? It is to me. It's kind of like, I don't think God's anything like he's written. I don't think it is to me. It's kind of like, I don't think God's anything like he's written. Fuck. It is to me. It's kind of like, I don't think God's anything like he's written, yeah? It's all just us trying to understand. Understand what? Everything. Adam paused thoughtfully. I Adam paused thoughtfully. "I can dig it." Heh. Firth made to leave. "I'll be back later to help clean up. And thanks." Adam paused for a moment. Maybe I should come. Maybe I should come? I'd like that." Adam showered after Firth, dressed appropriately, and then followed. They prayed. Okay. And the closeout. Where is it? Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. I am the Casual Death Roller, your host, and this has been Good Training, Chapters 2 and 3. If you enjoyed this content, please remember, feed the algorithm, feed it well, feed it often. And while you're at it, please smash those... If you enjoyed this content... that went over well. If you enjoyed this content, please remember, feed the algorithm, feed it well, feed it often. And while you're at it, please smash those like and subscribe buttons and consider dropping a comment down below for engagement purposes. As always, a huge shout out to my editor, Gregor. Thank you very much, buddy. I couldn't do this without you. And lastly, I invite you to join our community over on Discord. The channel invite's in the channel description at the channel invite link is in the channel description at the top of the page in YouTube and Rumble. Come join our community and join in the fun. Until next time, be safe, be well. I love you all. Oh, Gregor! The thing has been done. All right. End recording. Save as. All right. I don't know if anybody's still here, but thank you for joining in. And I guess I'll see you next time. Bye-bye. How does I end stream? Oh, there it is.